to tell us what will be, and his predictions might be better than you might think.
I'm Desmond. You've probably already guessed that Windows 95 has all kinds of hidden features. Well, I'll show you how to get at some of them and make Win95 behave the way you want it to a point. And if tweaking Windows isn't enough black magic for you, we'll be looking at the CD-ROM based on the hit card game Magic the Gathering on the Game Center Report.
Plus, we also have a few more now famous websites, especially for those of you who are Star Wars fanatics and just haven't yet had enough.
It's all happening next on the web. Welcome to the web from the CNET studios in San Francisco. I'm Sofie Formica.
Indeed, welcome. I'm Justin Gunn, and we've got a huge show for you today.
Bit of music. I spoke earlier in the week with Michael Franti. He has a group called Spearhead and a new CD and a website, which is really cool because it's based on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
God, I used to love Willy Wonka when I was a kid.
My favorite book.
The book, the movie,
yeah,
the whole nine.
And he gave me chocolate.
Oh, he knows how to get to Sofie.
Yeah.
We've got music. We've also got comedy. A gentleman by the name of Steve Odenkirk, comedian, has got a website. We're going to see how comedy translates on the internet as well.
And one thing that anybody who surfs the net knows about is domain names. And we're going to be talking about some domain names that have been able to be registered that, you know, seem really weird because there's others that can't be registered.
Some that many people would consider offensive or rude or racist.
Right.
They're getting registered.
Yeah, and it's a pretty heated and emotional type of topic because some of the things that they're discussing are things that really do affect a lot of people's lives. But first, we're going to check in with CNET Central's Richard Hart for some of the items making news in today's digital world. Richard.
Thanks, Sophie. In our News from the Net this week, some of the world's largest Internet organizations have reached an accord on who should issue Internet names. However, the plan is opposed by world powers, including the U.S. 57 organizations signed the pact, which creates 7 new domain levels and assigns 28 world registrars to sell net names. The U.S. refused to sign, saying it opens the door to global Internet regulation. Also refusing were the European Union, the World Intellectual Property Organization, and the International Telecommunications Union. Until now, names on the top level .com, .org, and .net domains were assigned solely by Network Solutions, a company contracted by the U.S. National Science Foundation. And the underdog of online services, Prodigy, is looking overseas to boost its business. Prodigy is taking its services to China, Africa, and possibly Mexico, predicting international accounts will comprise 40% of revenues by the millennium. The provider's membership is now only about 1 million. That's our net news for now. Stay tuned for more later in the show.
Thanks, Richard. Censorship and the internet have made headlines in recent weeks as the US Supreme Court considers the Communications Decency Act, a measure that outlaws indecent and offensive material being sent on the internet. A ruling is expected by summer, but censorship is happening now with respect to domain names. Network Solutions, the government-authorized company that registers sites in the popular .com domain, has refused to allow several controversial names, but has allowed others. Now, we must warn you that the following story contains adult material and some language that may not be suitable for all of our viewers. In 1993, the Internic was established as a cooperative project between AT&T, General Atomics and Network Solutions, Inc. NSI received the Registration Services Project, meaning they would register domain names. And as the popularity of the web increased, so has the number of names being registered with NSI. But NSI began censoring names, notably vulgar and some racist words, leading many to ask for a policy of do's and don'ts when registering domain names. That policy has never materialized. So how are other registration services handling domain names? One company, Landmines of Berkeley, California, an ISP that registers .fam sites, feels domain names are protected under free speech, and their policy is simple.
If you came to us and wanted to register a domain name, we put absolutely no restrictions onto what you register. The process of registering is an administrative process that Landmines exercises no control over.
To have or not to have a policy? That's the question that faces Network Solutions, and as a government-authorized agency, a question that the public deserves answered. Joining us today is Lauren Javier of GLAD. He complained to Network Solutions regarding the domain name godhatesfags.com. And joining us is Christopher Ambler of Image Online Design. His company registers the alternative domain name .web. We do want to add that we did ask Network Solutions to come on the show and state their policy. We even offered to meet them at their offices. Both invitations were declined. And again, we may be using words that people may find offensive. We aren't saying them to elicit a response or for shock value, nor do they reflect the feelings of us or the employees here at CNET. But it is a very real issue on the internet when we talk about domain names. So with that, welcome both of you to the web.
Thank you.
Now, Lauren, you went obviously and complained to Network Solutions when you discovered GodHatesFags.com. What was their response?
Their response was that they had a certain policy, and their policy was to block the 7 dirty words, any words that were already in the system, and also words that might be duplicated.
Do you feel that homosexuals were singled out in this regard?
No, I don't believe that they were that gay and lesbian people were singled out. What happens is that we're finding that the policy is very inconsistent with what they originally said their policy was. Take, for instance, one of our members, just to prove a point, registered another offensive, asked if he could register an offensive domain name, one that was offensive towards African American people. Again, this was just to prove a point, and that was nigger.com, spelled phonetically correct. And he got a message back from Network Solutions that said that this was, inappropriate language. And so,
which is good.
Right, which is good. But what we're finding is that why won't they, if they find nigger.com, yeah, then why wouldn't they block out?
Subsequently, the producers of this particular segment did find the N-word spelt the way it isn't spelt traditionally, and I guess it's important to mention too that you can't go to these sites, you can't go to God Hates Fags or to the N-word, however it's spelt, because they aren't actually websites. What you'll find is that these domain names have been registered, and the question is why? What's their policy?
Right.
And that's where it becomes unclear. And Christopher, you've had a similar experience.
I tried to register the fword.com when I found out that this was going on, and again, much like the other person, I did it to see what would happen. And I got the same thing back. I got a letter back from NSI saying that there are 7 words you can't have, and it was interesting because there were derivations of that word all over the place. Effed, effed up, I could go on.
Is there hesitation to discuss policies regarding these names?
Well, we could speculate, and we could get into conspiracy theories. There are those who say that NSI is keeping a low profile because they're planning on having an initial public offering. I don't know if that's true or not. Actually, I think they're probably pretty surprised at the explosive growth of the internet, and they weren't really prepared to take on these issues. I think they might be having a little deer in the headlights at this point.
You are a company that registers domain names. What's your policy on this regard?
Our policy is we have no policy. We cannot be a moral censor. What is offensive to me may not be offensive to you. A word that is gibberish to me might be the gravest of insults in some language I've never heard of. To legislate morality on a company level is just not possible.
Well, Christopher says we shouldn't have any policing. Lauren, do you agree, or do you feel that there should be some kind of guidelines for these things?
Actually, we agree. We're in agreement here. GLAD truly believes that there shouldn't be any kind of censorship on the internet. But what we are finding is the trouble with the Network Solutions policy.
But having said that, that means people would be able to register at GodHatesFags.com.
Right. But if their policy said that they had no, they did not censor any kind of domain name, then that would be fine, because then there would be no kind of double standards. There would be no
hypocrisy.
Yeah, hypocrisy, exactly.
Given that, and this is a difficult question, in your opinion, does the internet harbor these sorts of negative attitudes, racist attitudes, homophobic attitudes?
I think that, like any medium, I think that the internet is such a great place for people to find information, and that the information is free-flowing. There really is no FCC of the internet per se. And I think that with that, you do have racist people, bigots, online putting their word out. There are a lot of hate groups out on the internet. So I think that there is an explosion of that, but there's also an explosion of, a lot of really good things as well.
What should Network Solutions do, Chris? I mean, given this point where they're at an impasse and they have people like Lauren who've said, look, you've said we will allow this, but you won't allow this.
If I were in charge, I'd do what I'm doing with my company. I would relax that policy, let people register whatever they want, and step back from trying to be the censor of domain names.
Do you have a fear then that parents will be on your case?
I can't imagine how they would. Parents might be upset at some of the content of the websites of people who register through us, but that's well beyond our control. And that's why we have the court system. That's why we have the checks and balances that are in place now. If somebody writes an offensive letter to a newspaper, the parents don't get mad at the newspaper, they get mad at the person who wrote the letter.
Right.
And that's the same way I think it should be on the internet.
And you mentioned the NSI having the deer in the headlights things. Too much is happening too fast. Do you think that's why they're being so quiet about this issue?
It could be. They might not be sure what they should do at this point, and rather than take a bad turn, or I mean, perhaps a worse turn, they're pulling back for a moment and examining the situation.
And it's made more interesting by the fact that they are a government-authorised agency. Well, thanks, Chris and Lauren, for coming in to talk to us about the domain names and to help us put it all into perspective. And at the same time, to add her 2 cents worth, is CNETnews.com opinion editor, Margie Wiley. Margie.
Thanks, Sophie. We've heard that sticks and stones break bones, but words can't hurt. When it comes to naming websites, even Network Solutions knows that words can do harm. That's why the company behind the Internet has refused site names that use the N-word, the F-word, and a few other choice words that may be hateful or obscene. That being the case, the company's decision to stand by GodHatesFags.com is mystifying. Does Network Solutions think that it's okay to be hateful towards gay and lesbian people? It would appear that way. Network Solutions has offered a hodgepodge of excuses for allowing the slur to stand. Fag isn't an offensive word, they've said, or we only censor the FCC's dirty words. What Network Solutions hasn't offered is a clear policy. Company officials say they don't have to. Network Solutions is the largest single registrar of domain names. The company has collected over $50 million in registration fees through a government agreement. Network Solutions is also the recipient of millions of dollars of tax money. Yet company officials say the practices they choose to pursue are quite simply none of the public's business. Network Solutions' government agreement expires in March of 1998, and nobody's certain what will happen to the Internet after that. But for the next 9 months, it will remain the sole source for registering domain names at Indian.com, .org, and .net. On the net, that may as well be forever. Network Solutions owes the public a debt of accountability. It can start with a clear policy on how it decides which domain names are naughty and which are nice. I'm Margie Wiley.
It won't print.
Still won't print?
Still won't print. It won't print.
Jiggle the cable. I jiggled. I'll jiggle again.
That's the light.
That's the light?
That's the light.
It won't print.
It won't print.
It won't print.
What's the problem with the printer?
It won't print.
Can you print?
It's not the printer. It's the computers. Hadley downloaded a virus off the web.
Hadley.
IBM protects your network.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Daffy Duck, you're the greatest.
Thanks. Take a check.
Sure, Daffy. Just need some ID.
Are you serious? How many big cartoon stars come into this store?
Checks are a pain, but your bank has a better way, the Visa Check Card. And if your ATM card has a Visa logo on it, you've got one. It automatically deducts from your checking account everywhere Visa's accepted.
You're despicable.
Visa Check Card works just like a check, only better.
What a maroon.
Achieve perfection with Corel WordPerfect Suite 7, the award-winning word processor. Make your numbers count with the spreadsheet power of Corel Quattro Pro 7. Captivate your audience with Corel Presentation 7. And publish to the internet with the first suite that uses Java technology. The choice is obvious. Go with a winner.
Corel WordPerfect Suite 7. It's unbeatable.
What does it take for an airline to close a deal these days? teamwork. Planners, schedulers, finance guys, you name it, you'll need it. But if you work for British Airways, you don't need to fly everyone in. You bring them together with the help of IBM. You see, IBM's groupware solution helps the airline sales force bring the whole team to the table. If IBM did it for them, they can probably do it for you.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey! What about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to eat!
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in, I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
You don't let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork.
Internet 101 is sponsored by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Windows 95 is pretty powerful, and anyone who's used it knows that it probably has more hidden features than visible ones. Well, this week we'll show you an easy way to get at them and finally get Win 95 to behave the way you want it to in this week's Internet 101.
For those of you who just want a little more from your computer, here's More Properties. This is a cool little program that lets you do all kinds of tweaks, from animating certain windows to randomizing your wallpaper. When you first run the program, you get a little information about your system, like available memory and hard drive space and your current memory load, to get you in the mood for reconfiguring. Under the Shell tab, you can do things like set your icons to large or customize your auto-run instructions so that CD-ROMs will automatically execute when you insert them. You can also totally customize your desktop icons to personalize your machine. Try out the System tab for options like changing your registered name and organization. There are also some startup options you may not have known about, like changing the system to always give you the boot options menu. You can even change the tips of the day if you feel like being creative. Under the Utilities tab, there are some really handy things like a button that checks and rebuilds all your desktop icons if they get corrupted. More Properties may be just the beginning to getting at hidden features in Win 95. But the real paranoids are hoping that the next version will disable that socket that sends your thoughts to Microsoft Central Command. Just kidding.
If you're really into exploring the possibilities of Win 95, then head on over to our webpage at www.cnet.com and check out our story, Hacking Your Way Through Windows 95.
Coming up next, how to use your computer. That's right, we're going to show you how to properly sit at your desk, type on your keyboard, and set up your complete office ergonomically. Posture, Desmond. Posture.
Got it. 90 degrees.
We'll be right back.
The web is brought to you by IBM, solutions for a small planet. The web is brought to you by MCI and by IBM.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Hey, Carl, you're a smart guy, right?
Yeah, well...
Nice family.
Good job.
Beautiful, huh?
So?
Did you not just buy a set of golf clubs off the internet?
And did you not just pay for said golf clubs with your credit card? So?
Are you crazy?
Thanks.
Hackers.
Cyber thieves.
Consequences.
Grave consequences.
Your life may be ruined.
By the time you get home.
Click, click.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's safe.
How do you know?
I know.
IBM is making it safer to buy things over the web.
Hall of Fame brought to you by MCI One. Life just got simpler.
In past shows, we featured some of the many Star Wars sites that are out there in the cyber galaxy. But now here are 2 more that we haven't showed you in this week's Hall of Fame.
If the cantina is your favorite Star Wars scene, perhaps you should drown out your sorrows with the Star Wars drinking game. All you need is a tape of the trilogy, a VCR, and a glass of your favorite beverage. The rules are simple. Anytime one of the many actions on the master list occurs during the movie, you have to take a drink. This includes every time Luke Skywalker whines,
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Darth Vader chokes someone,
You have failed me for the last time.
Yoda uses bad grammar.
When 900 years old, you reach look as good you will not.
Or Princess Leia runs around half naked.
There is no try, only drink.
Another site to check out is this Star Wars homepage dedicated solely to everyone's favorite Wookiee. Chewbacca fans won't be disappointed with the numerous pics, sound bites, and biography. You can even listen to Chewie's many brilliant one-liners such as Wookiee growl, Wookiee short growl, and of course, the Wookiee yowl. Click on Chewbacca's poll to cast your vote for your favorite Chewie action figure and best hairstyle. Or just stare in awe as you download a movie of Chewbacca's rotating head. Now this is definitely the next best thing to the movie itself.
Wasn't that sweet? Well, if you know of a site that stands out from the crowd and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, then send it to us at fame@cnet.com.
Don't touch that remote. This next segment is for your health, so listen up. Computers have become a part of our daily lives, and unfortunately our bodies have to deal with the consequences. Tired wrists, strained eyes, they're just some of the effects of not having a proper office setup. Now, for those of us who sit in front of our computers for over 40 hours a week, there is a way to relieve the unnatural position we force ourselves into. Today we're going to learn the ergonomically correct way to surf the World Wide Web. It appears to be innocent behaviour. We sit in front of our computers for hours on end as our fingers diligently work the keyboard. Our hand frequently reaches for what seems to be a harmless pointing device. But in actuality, these repetitive motions can cause severe, irreversible damage to our bodies.
This limb is not intended to be hovering over anything, whether it's a mouse or keyboard. As soon as I decide to put it there and keep it there, I'm going to register a lot of force, and this web of muscle that goes around the information superhighway, which to me is nerve traffic that goes between brain and fingertips, I'm going to crimp that highway above and below the collarbone and put myself in danger. The mouse is notorious for doing that.
And such repetitive motion toward a mouse or even a telephone can develop irritation and inflammation of the wrist. These injuries can cause permanent numbness of the hand, known as carpal tunnel syndrome. Some sufferers of this ailment can't even button their shirt or drive a car.
Every day I would type and use the mouse anywhere between 5 and 8 hours a day, and then as a result I got repetitive stress injury, and I could barely shift in my car. It hurt really bad to pick up a mug, and when I would go to sleep at night it hurt to sort of lay on my arm.
Dr. Markinson has outfitted himself with an ergonomically correct workstation and is disappointed with the majority of the technology community's apathetic stance on ergonomics in the workplace.
My alarm here in this situation is that I started seeing strain injuries from computer use in 1982 when PCs were broadly distributed to desktops. 15 years later, they look the same as they did in 1982. My concern is that the industrial designers and electrical engineers don't have a clue about the end user.
And his disappointment is justified by the mere fact that 1 in 10 Americans suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome, and it is most common in women. Well, we've heard the statistics and the consequences of bad habits and equipment layouts, so now let's have a look at the practical application. And to help us do that is the president of CareGuard and our CNET resident ergonomic expert, Bruno Kovacic. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Sofie.
Well, we have a workstation set up over here. Let's use me as a guinea pig.
Great.
Bruno, this workstation belongs to somebody who's about the same size as I am. So if I sat down to work today, what are the things I should point out?
Well, the most important issue and the central issue of ergonomics is putting your body into what's called neutral body posture. And that means 90 degrees on your elbows, 90 degrees on your hips, and 90 degrees on your knees.
I think I failed.
Yeah. But before you do that, what we should do is also take a look at the equipment that you're using and make sure that you're using it properly.
Right.
The biggest and most important piece of equipment that you have is your chair, because that's where all your adjustability features are.
Okay.
Now, what most people do is they get in their chair and then they don't use it correctly, and they need to sit back in their chairs and make sure that the seat back supports their back so that they don't have to rely on their muscles to do all the work.
Which brings me into the keyboard.
Great.
Right.
Brings you closer to the keyboard. Then you want to check for the 90-degree elbow angle right here.
Mm-hmm.
And also make sure that the upper arm is laying at the midline of the body and is not extended forward, creating an angle in your shoulder.
Okay.
Okay. Then once you've got that, make sure your shoulders are directly over your hips. And then check the knee to make sure that you've got a 90-degree on the knee. And if you need to raise or lower your chair, you just make that proper adjustment. And this one looks like it's pretty good.
Well, to be honest, I kind of feel a bit stiff and uncomfortable if I had to sit like this all day.
That's a very good question. In fact, sitting in any one posture, even neutral body posture, is not good for you for long periods of time, and therefore you should take breaks on a frequent basis.
So we should check out what the other CNETers are doing with their muscle postures?
Great.
Okay. So we're going to use Sydney as our first candidate.
Hi, Sydney.
Hey, Bruno. So the way she's set up in her workstation, what would we need to change?
First thing I'm going to look at when I get to a workstation is I'm going to look at the equipment that she's using. Most noticeably, what I see right here is her chair. This chair allows Sydney to rock back and forth, and this is not a good chair to use in front of a computer. You need a chair that provides you with good, proper back support and doesn't move.
So the chair's got to go?
Chair's got to go.
And she's using one of the new keyboards. Would you recommend these?
Yes, we prefer the natural keyboard simply because the design element of the keyboard itself is far superior to the traditional keyboard.
Which would be this one.
That's correct. The problem with these particular keyboards is that, first of all, they force you to rotate your forearms and twist your forearms over.
Right.
And then because the keys aren't split here, whereas they're split here on the natural keyboard, is you have to then take your wrist and bend it to the side and actually pinch with the ulnar nerve right here. That's called ulnar deviation.
So over a period of time, you're looking at wrist troubles.
Wrist troubles.
Is there a proper way to use these?
Yes, there is a proper way to use these. The most important thing is that you have to have this front riser lifted up, and so that you get a negative pitch here on your keyboard. If you look at your traditional ones, they have a positive pitch, and this is important because when your fingers reach your keyboard, if you're in a positive pitch, you're going to bend your wrist and put pressure on your carpal tunnel canal.
Very bad.
Very bad.
Okay, let's see what else we can find.
Great.
Thanks, Sid. Change your chair. Sure. Hey, Cliff. Cliff, this is Bruno.
Hi, Cliff. How you doing?
Now, if we saw Cliff working away here, you wouldn't think he's doing anything wrong.
Well, actually, Cliff's got a couple things going on here. The first thing that's most noticeable is he's got what we call a turtleneck. That means he carries his head in front of his shoulder instead of on his shoulders.
What's causing that?
Well, primarily what's causing it is his monitor being at the wrong distance and the wrong height, and then it causes him to take his head and move it forward.
Right, so what he really should be using is one of these.
Correct. These are called monitor risers, and they come in various sizes and shapes. You can also get stackers or reams of paper to also lift your monitor up.
How do you know where it should be?
Top edge of your screen should always be at the level of your eyes.
Right, okay. So we need to put one of these under there.
Yes.
And what about the way he's using his mouse?
Well, that's another problem that he has, and the problem with it is that when he reaches for his mouse, you can see, first of all, that he has to extend his arm.
Right.
He also has to rotate his shoulder out to reach it because he can't get his mouse close enough to his keyboard.
So that's all bad.
That's all bad. And then if you pull his sleeve back, you'll notice that his wrist is also hyperextended.
Right.
What he needs is the mouse pad that has a wrist support to help flatten out that, and then to place that wrist pad as close to his keyboard as possible so that he minimizes the risk on his arms. Mice are ergonomic nightmares. There's not a solution for them yet, and what we really need is a split keyboard with a shortened pad so that you can actually put the mouse right in line with your shoulder.
And you're feeling better already.
Yes.
Well, at least you got the right chair. Okay, Dina, this is Bruno.
Hi, Dina.
Now,
Hi,
you,
Bruno.
young lady, are not doing a 90-90-90.
That's correct. In fact, what Dina's doing here is what a lot of people do, and that's called slouching in their chair.
Right.
Work habits and body posture are equally important to your equipment.
So we need her to sit up straight.
That's correct, because what she's doing right now, she's weakening her lower back, and then over time, when she gets older, she's going to have back problems.
Okay, up you get. Sit up straight. Okay. There you go.
Now, another thing that I noticed with Dina is she's also wearing high-heel shoes, which a lot of women do when they're working for long periods in front of the computer. This doesn't allow you to get proper lower body alignment in front of your computer.
Right.
A better solution would be a flat shoe with a footboard.
A footboard, magic. So that
You
gets
simply,
put under there.
Yeah, you can put on there, place it at the right height, put your feet flat on it, and then slide up underneath your workstation.
So if she's been here for a long period of time and she's tired and that causes her to slash, she should get up and move around.
Absolutely. It's not good to sit in any one posture for a long period of time. In fact, every hour she should be getting up and moving around.
Okay, let's do one of the exercises then. Okay. So what's something that people can do every hour on the hour?
Well, the most important one is what we call the blood muscle pump, and that simply means to take those muscles that have been sitting in a static position for a long period of time and to begin moving them. So you just simply get up, walk around, and move your arms and get those muscles going that have been sitting for a long time.
Does running to the bathroom count?
That helps, but you should do it a little bit longer than just running to the bathroom and back.
Okay, so don't look at your work makes a little bit funnily if they're walking around doing this because they're doing what's good for their body. Thanks very much, Bruno, and thanks, Dina, for helping us out with the ergonomically correct way to use your workstation. If you want to find out more information, you can email the guys at CareGuard at CUSTSERV@careguard.com, or of course go to CNET.com and we'll link you up from there. Thanks.
Coming up, the hit game that crossed the world of playing cards with the world of trading cards has finally come out on CD-ROM. Desmond will be here with the latest way to play Magic the Gathering.
Still ahead, comedians are developing their own websites and hosting online comedy shows. We'll show you the funniest side of the web and introduce you to a few comic websites that will have you in cyber stitches.
Plus, the hip-hop band Spearhead has a new CD and a new Shockwave-enhanced website inspired by an old favorite of Sofie here. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory will take you on a cruise down Spearhead's chocolate superhighway. And it's all right here on the web. We'll be right back.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey! What about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to leave!
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in, I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
You wouldn't let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork, dweeb, dork.
Create a website that reflects who you are. A website that's animated, innovative, and three-dimensional. Corel Webmaster Suite puts power in your hands. Power to publish and manage text and graphics, hyperlinks, and VRML. Plus wizards, pre-designed templates, and Netscape Navigator to take you there. Corel Webmaster Suite. Total creation power. From the makers of Corel WordPerfect. Achieve perfection with Corel WordPerfect Suite 7, the award-winning word processor. Make your numbers count with the spreadsheet power of Corel Quattro Pro 7. Captivate your audience with Corel Presentation 7. And publish to the internet with the first suite that uses Java technology. The choice is obvious. Go with a winner.
Corel WordPerfect Suite 7. It's unbeatable.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
When all my friends were buying stacks of cards for a game called Magic the Gathering, I didn't really catch on at first. But now that that same game is out on a CD-ROM, and we've got it here on the Game Center Report, I get it.
For those of you who have no idea what Magic the Gathering is all about, it's a card game between two people based on combat between the values of each player's cards. The cards for the game are bought much the same way as baseball cards, and certain cards are rare, powerful in the game, and expensive to collectors. The game is based on some complex rules, which are very basically explained in the digitized video tutorial.
The Black Knight is a 2/2 creature, and the Gray Ogre is a 2/2 creature. So let's say I summon my Gray Ogre.
But after seeing the video, I was kind of hoping that the creature combat would also be in video, but this was not so. I was also hoping that this CD would at least teach me how to play the real game in an easy-to-understand way. And although the tutorial describes the very basics of play, I get the feeling that a real understanding of the game only comes from playing against other humans who can help explain it. One of the other things that made the card game such a big hit was the collectible value of the cards themselves. A whole culture of collectors sprouted up to play the game while showing off their collection. While this game does have all of the beautiful artwork of all of the cards available and a few new ones that aren't and won't be printed, you can build your own deck in here or play with some ready-made decks if you want to get right in the game. This game might be a good way for tournament players to prepare themselves, but without another human to play against or animation to entertain you during the game, it's really not much more than a warm-up. It sure looks pretty, but I still don't know how to play Magic the Gathering.
Remember that we've got reviews of many different types of games online, and for more information, head on over to www.gamecenter.com and read the review of Magic the Gathering.
And still to come on the web, everything MIT scientist Michael Dutousos has predicted has come to pass. PCs in the workplace, a 1980 vision of the internet as it is today, and now he's written a book called What Will Be. He's going to tell us where we'll be in the next millennium. Stay tuned.
Where we'll be.
We'll be.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Create a website that reflects who you are. A website that's animated, innovative, and three-dimensional. Corel Webmaster Suite puts power in your hands. Power to publish and manage text and graphics, hyperlinks, and VRML. Plus wizards, pre-designed templates, and Netscape Navigator to take you there. Corel Webmaster Suite. Total creation power. From the makers of Corel WordPerfect.
Welcome back to the web, and joining us once again with more news from the digital world is CNET Central's Richard Hart. Richard.
Thanks, Sophie. In our news from the net, the Federal Trade Commission has put the clamp on some questionable marketing practices of online services. The FTC has settled allegations that America Online, CompuServe, and Prodigy misled consumers about conditions of free trial offers. The FTC said the providers did not make it clear to consumers that they would be automatically considered paid subscribers if they did not cancel service after these trial periods. The online services have agreed to fully disclose automatic enrollment systems and provide easy methods for cancellation of service. In addition, AOL has agreed to run a direct mail consumer education program about electronic payment systems. If you spent much time online, you've probably gotten junk email. Well, new software on the way could save you from the spam. Solid Oak Software has a new program called Reply that lets users filter out their own email. Users can download continually updated lists of super spammers online too. And Netiquette.net has a new breed of filter that online services can use to protect their members. It filters out spam for those who declare they don't want it. And there's new relief online for another annoyance, PC viruses. It's the first ever web-based virus scanning service called PCcillin House Call. Netizens can visit the site to have local or network drives check for all types of viruses. No charge for the service and no software to install. That's our net news for this week. For all the latest news from the digital world, stay tuned for CNET Central, coming up right after the web and the new edge.
Trend spotting and predicting the future of information technology is certainly a tricky business, but there are some true visionaries out there. Michael Dertouzos is director of the Laboratory for Computer Science at MIT. No small feat there. And back in the 1970s, he predicted that by the mid-90s, there would be a PC in nearly every home. In 1980, he predicted an information and trading marketplace that looks and sounds remarkably like the Internet of today. Now he's published a book entitled What Will Be? It's an insider's look at the global village of the 21st century with an introductory by Mr. Bill Gates. Michael Dertouzos, welcome to the web.
Hello, Justin.
Fascinating book. I am only about a third of the way through, but it is very, and I say this, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but it is easy reading.
I intended it to be.
Okay, very good. Back in 1980, you came out with a paper.
Information marketplace. I saw these millions of people and millions of network connections between them and their computers, buying, selling, and freely exchanging two things, information and information work.
Back in the 1980s, though, the personal computer was still sort of like, you know, on the drawing board.
I could see it. I mean, it was just beginning. I had forecast 5 years earlier in '75 that we would have one PC in every 3 homes in 20 years, like now. And that came pretty close. And I could also see networks because we had the ARPANET, but it was very small.
But I mean, between what the ARPANET back then was and
30 computers. That's
30 computers. That's what networking was back then.
But I could see it in millions.
What was leading you toward that?
Well, things that are 30 eventually become millions or they die, and I took the option of millions.
Okay. How are we doing, by the way? We're now almost to your mark of year 2000?
We're on track. We're on track. We're moving. People think we're moving fast. We're not. We're moving just at the rate of the Industrial Revolution. We've had 35 years behind us. We got another 100 ahead of us before we get there. But in between, we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll get to intermediate places.
I have a funny question for you.
Go.
Did you ever think, back in 1980, that you'd be sitting on the stage of a television show dedicated to these kinds of technologies?
Actually, I must have, because I copyrighted that article and kept the rights from it.
Great. I'm curious to know, sort of, can you encapsulate for us, what is the vision for the next 20 years? Where is this all going?
Well, first of all, there will be a lot of technology around. You know, we'll be able to speak to our machines. In my lab, I have programs that understand 90% of what you say if the discussion is confined.
Now, there's already some of that that's available to consumers.
That's childhood stuff. That's infantile, medieval stuff. I'm talking about serious stuff, stuff that can really comprehend what you're saying.
So I won't have to use the keyboard?
You will have to use it for contracts where you can't chat, but when you're just booking a flight or doing something, you know, that's a dialogue-like thing, you won't have to use them, no.
What is your assessment of all of the hype? I mean, here at the web, you know, we're a little bit guilty of that. We always put a rosy picture on technology. I myself am a huge fan of anything that goes beeps, you know, beeps or whistles. Should we be a little bit wary, though, of some of the hype?
Well, you know, ultimately, I have confidence in human nature, and technology is really neutral. It's us. It's the devils and the angels within us that count. So I have faith in us. But, you know, there are things, for example, the gap between rich and poor people and rich and poor nations, that's going to increase if we don't do something about it. Because computers help us get richer, and the poor don't have them, and they stay behind.
Is there potential, though, for the national information infrastructure, the information marketplace, whatever you want to call it, to sort of help those human qualities?
Absolutely, but we've got to do something active. We've got to provide the software, the hardware, the training, the communications for these people. You know, don't forget, 10% of the people have telephones in the world, and of those, only 5% are connected to the web. So it's still a very tiny part of the world.
I'm curious to know, since I'm sort of a gadget guy, what are some of the new technologies that will make it easier for that other, you know, 90% to get online and to use this
There is a nice technology for the other 90%. You know about low Earth orbit satellites? I call them whippersnappers because the geosynchronous birds stand up there over our heads, cost $400 million. These are only $10 million, and they whip snap around the Earth like this.
These are satellites that fly in a lower Earth orbit.
Much lower, and they're whipping around and exchanging signals like cellular phones. Now, when they're over the rich countries, they're busy, humming away, communicating. When they're over India and Africa, nothing. What does it take to turn them on? $0. Now, that's an interesting backbone communication for the developing world. Now, we still need training and all these other things, but there is one techie advance that could make this happen.
What about for the end user? I mean, right now, people are used to, you know, they've become comfortable with the web browser, with hypertext. They've become comfortable with their Windows operating. Oh, geez, the desktop metaphor. This is very easy to use.
Medieval. WIMP. WIMP. Do you know what WIMP means?
Yeah, sure, I know what WIMP.
Windows, icon, menu, pointing. That's what WIMP. These are the WIMP interfaces.
So what is the future?
The future is, you know, the WIMP interface was designed for a single computer. The operating systems are for a single computer. They have little afterthoughts for networks. The browsers are designed to open and click pages out there. They're not designed to have me work and deliver my work at a distance or collaborate with other people. What we're going to see is new facades that are different. They're not even in between browsers and operating systems. They're different, and they make possible the outside world of information, the inside world of information here, to look the same and to be extremely easy to use, much like cutting and pasting, much like the web at the beginning.
Okay, you're telling me what it might, what it's not. Can you tell me sort of what exactly it might look like? What it might, the experience for the user. What it might look like.
The user might
will we have goggles? Will we interact with the
I mean, we will have
screen?
goggles eventually, but now we're talking about the immediate future. We will be able to drag things, connect to distant sites, take the information from there, link it perpetually to ours. If there's an update there, the update happens here. You don't even have to think about it, no delays. If you really want to see it, we're working on things like that. Operating system, browser kind of thing called curl at my lab.
Real quickly, the greatest advantage of the coming information infrastructure, very quickly, we have just a few seconds left.
It's not a cyberspace, a metallic, gigabyte-infested outer world. It is our lives, yours and mine, doing what we always like to do, but with a new set of tools.
So it's just being human, yet with digital tools.
You got it.
Thank you very much, Michael, for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure, Justin.
Now, if you'd like to read for yourself what lies ahead on the sometimes bumpy info tech road, then check out What Will Be by Michael Dertuzos. It is easy reading, and it always keeps you gripped. You can also find out what's going on at the MIT Computer Labs by heading on over to www.lcs.mit.edu or head to cnet.com for the usual link from there.
The Web is brought to you by NCI and by IBM.
So you're looking for a new hobby. Good choice. Okay, you got the gear. Now you need a river. Perfect. How about a casting lesson? Better make that 2. Thanks to IBM, all of this can be arranged in one place, llbean.com. It's more than just a website. It's bringing LL Bean closer to their customers, and their customers closer to nature. Canoeing's an option, too. Now, if IBM can do it for LL Bean, they can probably do it for you.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey, what about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to eat.
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in, I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
Wouldn't let me in the phone booth, Ma. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork.
The Sci-Fi Channel celebrates National Space Day. Witness reports from the Mir space station. See how we will tame the heavens in living and working in space. Then it's every man for himself on a transport to danger. Trapped in Space, the Sci-Fi Channel original movie on National Space Day. Begins Thursday at 8 p.m.
Hall of Fame brought to you by MCI One. Life just got simpler.
If your stomach's starting to grumble and you just haven't had time to make it to the kitchen, well, don't rush off just yet. You'll want to watch what we have for you in this week's Hall of Fame, a wealth of food. I'm hungry already. Eat, drink and be merry. That's the spirit you'll find at epicurious.com. Stop by their food site where you'll find both gourmet and Bon Appetit magazines. Each publication has lots of recipes, restaurants and helpful culinary advice. There's even an elaborate drink section to help complement your meal. This site also hosts special columns and forums discussing everything from good grapes to foreign festivals. And for that special occasion, check out You Asked For It, where you'll find recipes of delicious delicacies from famous chefs all over the world. So if food is your passion, this site is sure to whet your appetite. And for the glutton in all of us, there's even a section for culinary links. Here they list food for all holidays and from every region. And don't worry, for the culinary connoisseur who never enters the kitchen, there's even the gourmet who'll take orders online and deliver them to your door. Bon appetit! Are your taste buds going crazy? Mine are. Now, if you've heard of any sites that should be inducted into the Hall of Fame, send them to us at fame@cnet.com. Coming up next, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Groucho Marx isn't around to appreciate what the net is doing for comedians these days, but we know he would have gotten a laugh out of comics today, delivering their punchlines over the web.
Sounds like we're in for some fun and a few laughs, so stick around. We'll be right back.
What does it take for an airline to close a deal these days? Teamwork. Planners, schedulers, finance guys, you name it, you'll need it. But if you work for British Airways, you don't need to fly everyone in. You bring them together with the help of IBM. You see, IBM's Groupware solution helps the airline sales force bring the whole team to the table. If IBM did it for them, they can probably do it for you.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Chuck, here's lunch.
Thanks.
How's business?
Not bad. Yours?
It's okay. Hey, what's that on your screen?
Oh, that. QuickBooks accounting software from the makers of Quicken. I called a toll-free number and got a free trial version.
My system works fine for me.
That's what I thought. But if you have bills to pay or customers who owe you money, you really ought to try this.
Yeah, I really don't have time to learn new software.
Well, if you can write a check, you can use QuickBooks. Answer a few questions, and it tailors itself to your business. Now I create invoices like these.
Yeah, but my business is so different from yours.
But that's what makes QuickBooks so great. It's the #1 software for any small business. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, even payroll and inventory, and you never have to enter information twice. There's over 60 customizable reports that put you in control. Know if you're making or losing money.
Sounds pretty good. I'm going to get that free trial version.
Nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-231-2119. That's 1-800-231-2119.
mastermind writer behind all the laughter in The Nutty Professor and Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. Now this Hollywood director and writer is taking his comedy into cyberspace.
Order battle!
He may not be the master of inconceivable facial gestures like his friend and colleague Jim Carrey.
I'm in complete control.
But Steve Odekirk has managed to co-write, direct, and perform a one-hour comedy special to air on NBC titled SteveOdekirk.com, with computer-animated facial expressions of his own.
Sweetest, most wonderful guy. I just don't think this is really working, though.
Steve is introducing a new generation of sketch comedy to television.
Eat my short, accountant!
Being that the NBC sitcom special takes place somewhere in the World Wide Web, a site was commissioned to launch alongside it. With plugins galore and exclusive video clips of the show, the entertainment site may just compete with its sidekick.
Steve's website is in for some competition this week against his own special one-hour program on NBC. Check your local listing for steve.odenkirk.com.
Up next, the soulful lyrics of Michael Franti and his band Spearhead. They're sending a message to their fans and capturing a new audience with their hip-hop sounds and internet grooves. We'll cruise the chocolate superhighway. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Achieve perfection with Corel WordPerfect Suite 7, the award-winning word processor. Make your numbers count with the spreadsheet power of Corel Quattro Pro 7. Captivate your audience with Corel Presentation 7. And publish to the internet with the first suite that uses Java technology. The choice is obvious. Go with a winner.
Corel WordPerfect Suite 7. It's unbeatable.
They're coming from Japan, from Russia, from everywhere, but they all wind up in the same place. The Wound & Wound Toy Company, one of the world's largest collections of wind-ups, LA's hottest movers, shakers, and big talkers. So bring your inner child, your real child, and your Visa card. Because at the Wound & Wound Toy Company, you won't wind up with anything. Using American Express, Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
I want you to deliver a message.
A brilliant scientist caught in the ravages of gang violence is brutally shot and paralyzed. Now, in his one-man war on crime, Dr. Miles Hawkins has perfected the ultimate biological weapon, madness.
We created something that gives me power.
From the creators of Batman and Darkman comes Madness. Tonight at 8 p.m.
The hip-hop band Spearhead has created a musical takeoff on the information superhighway with their new CD, Chocolate Superhighway. They've also launched a chocolate-laden website of the same name, and it's inspired by the story of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We think you'll find more than a golden ticket on this road tour. For the ride, the band Spearhead mixes hip-hop grooves with blues, rap and reggae. Their latest album is Chocolate Superhighway, and lead singer Michael Franti says the title is a takeoff on the information superhighway, a world wide web that isn't as wide as it should be.
There's an exclusion of a lot of people. You know, people of color, women are just not represented on the web like we need to be. And that's why I call the album Chocolate Superhighway, because I want to draw attention to the fact that the World Wide Web is not as worldwide as people like to think it is. What really makes any electronic medium be cool is the content, and that we, as those people who have been excluded, need to include our content into the web as much as we can.
Franti's content is a socially conscious message, and he delivers it through his music and through the band's new website. And since Spearhead's sound incorporates more than urban grooves, their website is more than just a place to read about the band.
Part of my commitment to presenting ideas is to present it in a way that people can really enjoy it. And And so it's not really like you're listening to a school book or a textbook or a lecture. It's like you're grooving to the beat. When we designed this website, we want it to be something that you come, and as you find out about the band, the links take you to other places that are some of our concerns.
Spearhead's new website is loosely inspired by the children's film classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, with Rastafari and Oompa Loompas and golden ticket links that transport site visitors to different places on the web.
When you press the golden ticket, it'll shoot you to another, it's like a link thing that'll take you to another place that's somehow related to the songs. And each of the songs from the record are kind of like rooms that you go through into the Chocolate Factory.
Franti says Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is his favorite movie, but it's not Willy Wonka he identifies with.
I see myself definitely as Oompa Loompa. A little guy just trying to work, make some chocolate, you know, make people happy. One of the biggest rewards for me is when people come up to me and say, like, you know, I saw your show tonight and I want to go home and write a song, and it inspires them to be creative, because if you can find something that inspires you to be creative and do something that's other than your routine, that's a joy.
And as Franti and his band travel down the chocolate superhighway, it's their music that shifts into overdrive. If you'd like to find out more about Spearhead and their new release, Chocolate Superhighway, I love that name, point your browser over to hollywoodandvine.com/spearhead. And for anything else you've seen on the show today that you'd like to check out, of course, you can find it at our digital home. Cruise on over to CNET.com and look for the web's homepage, and we'll link you up from there.
Yeah, and also, of course, at that very same CNET location, you can see our webcast, real-time video outtakes of some of the segments you've seen on the show today.
Like me tap dancing, maybe.
It's
a great resource and a great place to get started surfing on the web. So from all of us here at the web, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Cannot be programmed.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest. Coming up next on The New Edge, state-of-the-art simulators that are using cyberspace as a virtual battlefield. And we'll go for a ride in the battle wagon that's in the middle of it all. Plus, get a sneak peek at the television of the future. It's all next on The New Edge.
Here's a bit of the best from Sci-Fi Buzz. The Los Angeles-based publishing firm Morpheus International recently expanded its empire to include Gallery Morpheus, a gallery devoted to fine art of the surreal and fantastique.
A fantasy art gallery, why?
Well, we've been publishing fantasy art, surreal art for quite some time, and we had so many requests from people to see the actual art that these guys have been producing that we thought we'd take the plunge, and here we are.
You're on the Sci-Fi Channel. Here's what's next.
On The New Edge, ripping it up on the fastest class of sailing craft.
It can jump easily 30 feet high.
Laboratories the size of a fingernail.
The lab on the chip is really reconstructing and emulating exactly the things that you would do at the lab bench, but in a very small network of channels.
Mind over machine means no more mouths. And finally, tapping NASA's aerospace ingenuity to help fight forest fires. These stories and more, right here on The New Edge.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest. Welcome to the New Edge from the studios of CNET, the computer network. They are the fastest wind-powered craft on the water. Now, windsurfers can sail even faster and jump even higher, thanks to the latest developments in materials and design. Some of them even have wings beneath the waves. Windsurfing is not the same sport it once was. Today, the technology of windsurfing is all about lighter, stronger, faster, higher.
It can jump easily 30 feet high.
You can fly 40, 50 feet up in the air with no problem.
In order to expand the limits of the sport with faster top speeds and more spectacular aerials, equipment development has had to meet the pace of the participants. Now, along with that, research into alternative designs is taking place. What this means is that novices can do more in less time, and the pros can take the sport as far as their strength, imagination, and courage will take them. When it's kicking like it is out there today with gusts up to 50 miles per hour, what you really need is stuff that's made to endure these conditions, to shred through the wave without shredding your board or yourself.
We can come up with very fast, aggressive, efficient shapes, and they are still very friendly.
Because you got to go fast, you got to jump high, you just got to push the limits of what you can do, and you can't do it on old equipment. You need composite boards. You need lightweight, strong boards, built to take the punishment that modern sailing dishes out.
Bob Miller builds high-performance sailboards in San Francisco. Now, his boards, like most today, vary in design based on the type of rider and the type of sailing that rider prefers. Wave-jumping boards are more maneuverable and stronger, while racing boards are made lighter to reach planing speeds faster. But there's more to windsurfing today than just foam and fiberglass. For the top riders, the board is just the beginning.
Dialing in your equipment is the #1 thing, out there for winning races anyway, is knowing what sail to use, what board to use, what fin to use, in what winds.
You can't take full advantage of the wind without a good sail. Neil Pride sailmakers plot sail dimensions on a computer and then stitch the sheets using a combination of synthetic fibers and laminates of polyester film. Some sails are made with a single sheet of polyester called monofilm for superior strength and light weight.
You can sail one sail in more wind because there's more, there's more of a range to the product, so it's a lot easier and a lot more fun.
In order to withstand the incredible stress that sail supports are subjected to, mast makers like FiberSpar are turning to carbon fiber composites. The manufacturing process interlaces carbon fiber with 2 different fiberglass yarns. This seamless triaxial structure yields a mast that recovers at least twice as fast as those made from fiberglass or aluminum. All of the energy absorbed by the sail gets transferred through the board and ultimately to the fin, which is, in effect, the wing that the windsurfer uses to fly through the water.
This fin is actually very demanding, very powerful, but very fast. But it takes a sailor who really is on his toes to ride this fin because it is so straight, but it doesn't turn really well. So what we do, we leave the base straight and then we start curving the tip area, and that makes the fin make a corner a lot better.
A more radical approach to the water wing is the Miller hydrofoil, conceived, engineered, and built by Rich Miller. This may be the first practical hydrofoil developed for windsurfing.
There's one in the back, the main hydrofoil. There's another one in the front called the canard hydrofoil. It's designed to come to the surface and stay there. The rear foil is then able to track behind it and somewhat lower. You get a higher speed and smoother ride if you can control it. It's very responsive to steering. It's very quick. It's a very satisfying thing to be on. When you've sailed on one of these for a while and you go back to a regular windsurfer, it seems calm, really calm.
There are plenty of windsurfing sites on the World Wide Web where you can learn more about the sport or check out the sailing conditions where you live. Better yet, check out the cool streaming video on the New Edge website. You got to see this. It's at www.cnet.com. Next up on the New Edge, an entire lab on a single computer chip. And this
is your brain on PC. These stories and more coming up on The New Edge.
The New Edge is brought to you by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
So you're looking for a new hobby. Good choice. Okay, you got the gear. Now you need a river. Perfect. How about a casting lesson? Better make that 2. Thanks to IBM, all of this can be arranged in one place. LLbean.com is more than just a website. It's bringing LL Bean closer to their customers, and their customers closer to nature. Canoeing's an option, too. Now, if IBM can do it for LL Bean, they can probably do it for you.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey, what about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to rain.
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in, I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
You don't let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork, dweeb, dork.
Attention all passengers en route to Rigel 7. Please board shuttle through gate number 6.
Create a website that reflects who you are. A website that's animated, innovative, and three-dimensional. Corel Webmaster Suite puts power in your hands. Power to publish and manage text and graphics, hyperlinks, and VRML. Plus wizards, pre-designed templates, and Netscape Navigator to take you there. Corel Webmaster Suite. Total creation power. From the makers of Corel WordPerfect.
More speed, more power, more productivity. One of the mantras of technology is that more is better. Well, Hari Srinivasan introduces us to some new miniaturization technologies that turn those slogans on their head.
What you're looking at are the workings in a science lab, a lab that's about 100,000 times smaller than ones you may have walked into. This chip that I have in my hand can run 100 different scientific experiments that could fill this entire room with lab equipment. And this chip can do those experiments in minutes, where it may take a lab technician days, maybe even weeks.
The lab on the chip is really reconstructing and emulating exactly the things that you would do at the lab bench, but in a very small network of channels that are etched into glass in many cases, or plastic.
Once the computer system adds the minuscule amounts of chemicals necessary, tiny electrokinetic charges move the chemicals into different states, creating all the old-fashioned equipment you're used to. Pipettes, mixers, you name it.
I think it's remarkable that biology has gone so long in such a primitive state of experimentation. The explanation for that might be that biologists don't typically talk to engineers.
The combination of biologists and engineers at Caliper Technologies have already figured out ways to use this technique to purify cells, separate them, and analyze DNA. By cramming more experiments into a smaller space, automating the process, and almost completely wiping out human error, experiments on a chip instead of a lab can save priceless time and millions of research dollars, especially when it comes to fields like researching the human genome or finding new drug combinations.
A normal screen for a pharmaceutical compound normally consumes millions of dollars worth of expensive chemicals. In our case, we'll do a screen which is much, much larger than that, and consume a few $100s worth of chemicals.
The technology that allows you to etch such tiny instruments, photolithography, could also help medical research outside the lab setting.
So when you come in with a sore throat to the doctor, you can very quickly then get a readout of what is the correct antibiotic to be prescribed and not have to wait 2 or 3 days for the test to come back to tell you whether or not you have the right drug.
These are what the Affymetrix company calls gene chips, a new way to approach some of the tougher questions biology and medicine face today. The company is already producing these chips to help detect mutations in the HIV virus. The latest techniques in photolithography allow light to etch tiny walls into silicon, glass, or plastic wafers, creating anywhere from 40 to 600,000 different sections on every chip. Once the walls are built, the sections house microscopic bits of DNA sequences.
On a chip this size with today's technology, 400,000 individual sequences and essentially ask 400,000 separate questions.
Questions whose answers could save lives.
Within the context of HIV, a lab assistant can take a gene chip like this, put it into a specialized scanner, and within 5 minutes have pictures like these help determine the best drug combination for this particular patient.
What this tells you is, has there been a mutation in the HIV virus in a particular patient, and are they now resistant to a particular drug?
These types of tests currently exist, but they require people with years instead of weeks of training, making the tests very expensive. And the technology is only getting better.
When I speak of 400,000 sequences per chip, we're working with semiconductor technology that was used for computer chips in the late 60s.
So if and when this technology catches up to where computer chips are today, one of these chips could hold up to 4 billion different sequences of information. So in whatever form it comes, using the latest technology to get smaller, not bigger, is bringing scientists closer to the answers they've always been searching for.
It's a bit like a direct line to God. You want to ask the question and get the answer back right away, and of course that's not possible.
Not yet, but someone's probably working on it.
Another device that's accelerating lab work is a new portable blood analyzer that will allow doctors to run tests right there in their offices, saving time and money.
Coming up on The New Edge, controlling your computer using only your mind, and fighting forest fires over the internet. It's just ahead on The New Edge.
Achieve perfection with Corel WordPerfect Suite 7, the award-winning word processor. Make your numbers count with the spreadsheet power of Corel Quattro Pro 7. Captivate your audience with Corel Presentation 7. And publish to the internet with the first suite that uses Java technology. The choice is obvious. Go with a winner.
Corel WordPerfect Suite 7. It's unbeatable.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Well, Visa Gold bought you the clubs and the clothes and 3 rounds at breathtaking Pebble Beach. The one thing it couldn't buy you was a single decent shot.
I quit! Finish without me!
I can't. Those were my clubs.
Fortunately, it had enough purchasing power for your next set of clubs.
Graphite.
Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey! What about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to rain!
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in, I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
You wouldn't let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork.
It won't print.
Still won't print?
Still won't print. It won't print.
Jiggle the cable. I jiggled. I'll jiggle again.
That's the light.
That's the light?
That's the light.
It won't print.
It won't print.
It won't print.
What's the problem with the printer?
It won't print. Can you print?
It's not the printer. It's the computers. Hadley downloaded a virus off the web.
Hadley.
IBM protects your network.
My teacher tells us to just say no. Policemen said the same thing. They don't have to walk on through here. 'Cause the dealers are scared of police. But they're not scared of me. And they don't take no for an answer.
To Kevin Scott and all the other kids who take the long way home, we hear you. Don't give up.
Ever since the dawn of man, humans have been captivated by the brain, gray matter, the old noggin, the noodle, that mysterious cranium in the center of our very being. Yet, from the outside, it appears to be functionless.
Mind over matter. The mind and body as one. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything, except control your computer. But now, the journey to your mind begins with a touch.
This sensor measures the composite neural activity, which essentially is your brain waves as measured through the electrical activity of the skin.
Ron Gordon, best known as CEO of Atari in the 70s, now honchos a high-tech firm called The Other 90% Technologies. Amid considerable skepticism, Ron asserts that his mind drive device can turn a user's thoughts into a new kind of input device to operate your computer.
Right now you can move this to the left or to the right. A left brain activity would move it more to the left. A right brain activity would move it to the right.
Strapping on digital skis by slipping on this prototype finger sensor, I took a schuss down Ron's version of the Hahnenkamm downhill course called Mind Skier.
Try to ski in between the gates, the red and blue gates.
Are we getting nervous? Here we go. Gotta try to get over to the left.
Believe it or not, it worked, though not with great control. Thinking left made me turn left, and right went right.
If I take this off, it's going crazy. But actually, it just goes straight. It just picks it up. Now watch this. Put my finger in, and we're in business again.
The process is not unlike the old galvanic skin response technique used on a lie detector, but ramped up several notches.
Yes!
What exactly was going on? What am I doing in here?
We're looking at over 70 different signals that emanate from the electrical activity of the skin. Also, in that finger, we look at heartbeat, blood pulse volume, nervous system activity, micro changes in temperature.
The 70 or more signals are picked up in this digital digit sensor, once you learn how to train your thoughts. Here, I'm exercising mine from a calm blue state to a rip-roaring red arousal. You can then manipulate things on the screen, but how to train your brain to get into the zone? That's the trick. Varsity brain trainers can even get into that left-right brain thing, which is way cool.
The first few times I didn't know what I did, but as I did it again and again, I learned, just like when you ride a bicycle. You don't know exactly how you learn to get your balance, but once you do, you can do it all the time. That's how this works.
Can you tell somebody's sexual thoughts at this point?
I can't tell exactly what the thought is in the person's mind, but we can certainly tell if that person is excited or aroused or not.
Eventually, MindDrive will enable you to move the cursor around the screen, open applications, and have complete XYZ axis movement. The finger sensor will be wireless, allowing remote operations.
The other 90%, makers of the MindDrive system, are currently working with United Cerebral Palsy and Easter Seals to help groups with disabilities.
Hi, I'm Gina St. John. Coming up on CNET Central, we've got everything you need to know about the digital world. The biggest news, the latest innovations, what you should buy, and what you should avoid. We're your source in the digital age. That's CNET Central, after the web and the new edge.
The New Edge is brought to you by MCI. Is this a great time or what?
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey! What about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to rain!
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in. I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
You wouldn't let me in the phone booth, Ma. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork.
Hey, Carl, you're a smart guy, right?
Yeah, well...
Nice family.
Good job.
Beautiful, huh?
So?
Did you not just buy a set of golf clubs off the internet?
And did you not just pay for said golf clubs with your credit card? So?
Are you crazy?
Thanks.
Hackers.
Cyber thieves.
Consequences.
Grave consequences.
Your life may be ruined.
By the time you get home.
Click, click.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's safe.
How do you know?
I know.
IBM is making it safer to buy things over the web.
As more of the country's urban population penetrates deeper into forested areas, fire control and prevention is becoming more critical than ever. At the same time, it's more and more difficult for firefighting services to maintain funding. It may be up to the latest in thermal imaging and fire forecasting tools to protect our wilderness areas.
In California alone, an average of 138,000 acres of woodland are lost to wildfire each year. These men have been called in to save what they can, and so has this one. Jim Barilius is a pilot attached to the High Altitude Missions Branch at NASA's Ames Research Center in Mountain View, California. As part of NASA's mission to planet Earth, this unit flies a specially equipped ER-2 reconnaissance plane to capture thermal images at an altitude of 65,000 feet. These images are used primarily for environmental impact studies, but with their infrared capability, they can literally penetrate a cloud of smoke, revealing the fire below.
This is data coming off of what's called a multispectral scanner, and it's basically a digital imager that's in one of the superpods on the ER-2. In the right-hand window here, you see what this fire looks like in visible imagery, like it would to the human eye or to a standard video camera. It's really hard to tell where the fire actually is in here, other than it's generally in the area of the smoke. The very special thing about the infrared is that the smoke becomes transparent. And we see if we overlay the infrared wavelengths on this visible, you can see through the smoke, and you can see where the actual burning perimeter is.
Observing the actual fire is indispensable in determining its severity and direction. The images from this fire were transmitted by what NASA calls the Starlink system, in real time, from the plane to NASA's tracking and data relay satellite. From there, they were relayed to a ground station and sent back to Ames for evaluation. A team from the California Department of Forestry was on hand to plan a firefighting strategy based on this unprecedented, instantaneous diagnostic tool.
We coordinated with the Forestry Department to overfly a number of these fires for them. And then what we did to give them easy access to the data was to turn around and, after we received it, to put it onto an internet web page.
We could actually see down and see the intense white areas on the screen itself is where the fire is really actively burning. Within 20 minutes, we had an image of what was taking place on that ground, which was almost real time and really, really quick.
With a portable computer, a modem, and a cellular telephone that's compatible with the modem, it's possible for a forester to be out on a remote mountaintop and have access to the imagery via a cellular network.
The CDF utilizes satellite data relay to prepare for fires as well, as is the case with this remote automatic weather station.
Wind speed 009.
This is one of over 200 stations across the state that collect fire-pertinent weather data through various sensors, including dry fuel temperature and moisture gauges.
It measures the fuel temperature, so we have an idea
how hot the fuels are out there, because the hotter the fuels, the lower the temperature it takes to ignite those fuels. So we want to have an idea of what the fuel temperatures are. On the other side is the fuel moisture, and that measures the amount of moisture that's out there in the fuels. When the air becomes very dry, like in the afternoon, then the air takes the moisture from the stick, and then the stick lightens, so the moisture is being reduced in the stick. And that's what we're sampling for the fuels out in the area. Once all the weather data has been sampled, it's stored in the computer, and every hour it's transmitted via this antenna to the GOES satellite.
The data is relayed from the satellite to Sacramento and forms the basis of a new fire-predicting software program being developed by the CDF. In addition, California firefighters can access data from lightning strike sensors across the state. A program called Metafire, which estimates the probability for large-scale forest fires, and the Wildland Fire Assessment System, a World Wide Web service maintained by the USDA Forest Service, are software-based tools which may offer the most significant advancement in the ability to accurately anticipate the outbreak of fire.
We can anticipate how severe that danger is and make our dispatches and our detection system much more reactive to whatever occurs.
76 into 1384, Delta Crew 1.
We'd increase our initial attack response from 2 to 4 engines to maybe 6 engines. We'll send air tankers, helicopters, fire crews, and a whole boat of equipment to make sure that we try and catch that fire before it gets beyond our initial control.
You can take a closer look at those fire photos taken from the edge of outer space on the World Wide Web. Just go to CNET.com and we'll show you the way. For all of us here at CNET, the computer network, I'm Ryan Seacrest. We'll see you next time on The New Edge.
Hi, I'm Richard Hart. Up next on CNET Central, people are scamming their way into college with help from the net to get the inside story. Plus the future of TV and where to watch baseball online. All next on CNET Central.
You're on the Sci-Fi channel. Here's what's next.
Connect with Sci-Fi Entertainment Magazine. The only magazine from the world's only network dedicated to science fiction. Imagine the future. Redefine your boundaries. Escape into a world of infinite possibilities. Discover the secrets of Hollywood's top movie makers. Meet the creators who turn fantasy into reality. Call 1-800-77-SCI-FI now. Understand the story. Uncover the truth. Acquire the knowledge. 1 year, 9 incredible issues at one low price. Call now to subscribe at 1-800-77-SCI-FI or make the connection on the internet at www.scifi.com. Sci-Fi Entertainment Magazine, the authority.
Where am I?
Now on CNET Central.
Buying your way to a college degree? Students have found a way to do just that by using the World Wide Web.
Inviting plagiarism by having so many essays available is a disservice, and it's sleazy.
How the new digital TV standard will affect your television viewing and your web surfing.
Ron Reagan takes us out to the old ball game and shows you the best ways to experience America's favorite pastime on the World Wide Web.
Plus, Batman makes an appearance on our Best of the Web, and our own Dark Knight Desmond shows us how to print postage stamps right from your computer.
Sofie will be here to clear up the confusion about emailing text files and, of course, all the latest news from the digital world. Right now on CNET Central.
Now, from the #1 on-air and online information source for the digital age, this is CNET Central.
Hi, I'm Gina St. John.
And I'm Richard Hart. Welcome to CNET Central.
You know, the internet has its roots in the academic world, and it continues to be an important research tool for students from grade school to the graduate level.
But now a lot of colleges are finding the tables turned. Many aspiring students have discovered an easy way to cheat the system using the internet. Being admitted into a prestigious university has long been considered a reward for hard work, diligence. But now some students are trying to get in without any hard work at all by buying their entry essays over the internet.
Right now there isn't a level playing field, and that now some students have more going for them than others, and we wanted to help out the ones that have less.
Dan Kaufman, a 28-year-old Williams College graduate and founder of IvyEssays.com, sees it as his duty to help students better prepare for the college applications process.
There was a need among students that didn't have the support and resources that others do to help them write their best applications.
Inviting plagiarism by having so many essays available is a disservice, and it's sleazy.
To admissions officers like Michael Benke from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, websites like Kaufman's only undermine a process based on trust.
If their purpose really was to help students and provide advice, that's what they would have done. But the fact that they make hundreds of these essays available calls into question the real purpose of this. The real purpose is to make money.
But paying for these essays hasn't stopped students like Tony, who asked to remain anonymous. He spent $20 on 6 essays, which he claims helped get him into law school.
Just being able to see how other people write can help generate ideas and generate thoughts and help get somebody motivated.
That's exactly what Stanford law student Charles Menzies thought when he sold just one of his essays to Kaufman's site for $100.
So you're actually teaching in this process instead of just giving somebody something?
Absolutely. This is, it's not supposed to be, as far as I understand, a gift where here's my personal statement, you use it for your own application. This is actually a resource so other students can look to see what a winning statement looks like, and they can model theirs after mine or somebody else's.
But somebody could use it for evil purposes.
Theoretically, anybody can use almost anything for evil purposes, and if a student is stupid enough to plagiarize one of these personal statements, then they're not going to get into law school anyway.
Now university administrators have to familiarize themselves quickly with the material for sale, which for the student means facing a higher level of scrutiny.
But it does, I think, students a disservice by inviting them to plagiarize, because I think they're going to lose an opportunity to communicate to us something about themselves.
Reading other essays that people have written doesn't mean that you have to take their ideas, but it can make you start to think about ways that you can cultivate your writing or generate thoughts that you can put down on paper.
Even though Ivy Essays isn't making money right now, Dan Kaufman claims that when he does start to make money, he'll donate the cash to educational charities. Then he says he'll continue his crusade to level the entrance exam playing field for students worldwide.
What is this world coming to? Well, if you're the consumer electronics industry, that one's easy. Digital TV. Last month, the Federal Communications Commission approved the technical standards for digital TV and encouraged broadcasters and TV manufacturers to be ready to give customers service by the end of next year. Now, what exactly does that mean to you and me? Well, here to sort it all out is the guy who just gave blood. He's going to give you the answer. It's Hari Srinivasan.
That's right. In a nutshell, it means more information, better sound, higher quality pictures, but how soon you, the viewer, will see that change is still up in the air.
This is your television. This is your television on DTV. A wider, clearer, more movie-like picture. 3 or more programs per channel, interactive out of the box with built-in keyboard and modem. To the consumer electronics manufacturers, this is a big deal.
This is the most significant development since television itself. This isn't like going to color or to stereo.
To the computer makers, it's an even bigger deal. They want to keep selling PCs.
Simply put, consumers today have a choice of looking at television or interacting with their personal computer.
This may be the case for a while. Until the DTVs arrive in stores, it's possible now to buy a wide format or 16:9 television set. But these are only good for letterbox movies on tape or disc. But the convergence trend is starting to slide. can already attach a modem and keyboard to your TV. Companies like Web TV and Power TV will sell you the boxes. But wait, there's more. From Toshiba.
We allow the user to select between answering machine, telephone, CD, radio, and TV, all at the touch of a button.
That's why it's no longer called HD TV. High definition just didn't say enough. In 1997, it became just DTV, digital television. And DTV is supposed to simplify life by putting everything into one box. The last serious question remaining is, who will sell them? Computer companies or electronic appliance companies? Intel or RCA? Apple or Sony? Will the thing you buy be a TV that behaves like a computer or a computer that behaves like a TV? Expert opinions are up in the air.
The computer people are doing the work to convert the video into the computer environment. The television people are taking also the same approach via the digital television standard. And it's a question of who's going to get there first.
I think that a lot of people right now are watching all of their entertainment in their living room, and then they go to their PC to build a presentation or surf the web or do whatever they want to do. A single device is going to allow them to do both things. Yeah.
But the man who wrote the book on the future of TVs, Joel Brinkley, has an opinion of his own.
They are devices that have two different functions, two different places in the home, two different reasons for existence. And they both are going to become more flexible, but they're still going to be two different devices.
Now, Hari, this is all pretty interesting, but does this mean I'll have to surf twice as many channels to find my favorite TV show, like CNET Central?
No, not necessarily. Each digital signal has the ability to broadcast 4 separate channels. It's up to the individual station to decide how they want to split up that bandwidth. For example, the fishing channel probably doesn't care to broadcast some infomercial on the flying lure in Dolby surround sound, so they can afford to give you 3 times the fishing programming on separate channels. Now, at the same time, a network like NBC may want to broadcast a movie like Twister with all the bells and whistles digital TVs will be able to deliver.
Okay, well, here's the question we always ask. Does this mean we have to go out and buy this set right now?
The answer is no. Well, not yet. The FCC has set up a transition period till the year 2006, at which point all TV stations will have to broadcast in digital form. So you've got plenty of time to wait it out. Plus, it's a good idea to wait on buying a new DTV because, for one, there's really no digital programming up there right now, and secondly, prices for these new TVs will probably drop drastically within the next couple of years.
Well, that's some great information. Thanks a lot, Hari. Coming up, Desmond shows us how to print out snail mail stamps right from your computer, and a fail-safe way to send text files over the internet.
CNET Central is brought to you by NCI. Is this a great time or what?
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Achieve perfection with Corel WordPerfect Suite 7, the award-winning word processor. Make your numbers count with the spreadsheet power of Corel Quattro Pro 7. Captivate your audience with Corel Presentation 7. And publish to the internet with the first suite that uses Java technology. The choice is obvious. Go with a winner.
Corel WordPerfect Suite 7. It's unbeatable.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey! What about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to rain!
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in, I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
You won't let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room, you dweeb. Dork, dweeb, dork.
Create a website that reflects who you are. A website that's animated, innovative, and three-dimensional. Corel Webmaster Suite puts power in your hands. Power to publish and manage text and graphics, hyperlinks, and VRML. Plus wizards, pre-designed templates, and Netscape Navigator to take you there. Corel Webmaster Suite. total creation power. From the makers of Corel WordPerfect.
Net News is sponsored by IBM, Solutions for a Small Planet.
In the news this week, giant chip maker Intel has unveiled its newest, fastest chip yet, the Pentium 2. Running at speeds up to 300 megahertz, the chip's initially intended for business use, but will eventually be used in the consumer market. More than a dozen PC manufacturers have announced plans to ship systems using Pentium 2, including Compaq, IBM, and HP. No date yet on when the chips will ship. They could be delayed because of a reported small bug with large numbers. Super spammers Cyber Promotions Inc. has been court-ordered to stop sending junk email to 2 more online services. The company will stop spamming the members of CompuServe so long as CompuServe allows subscribers the option of receiving junk mail. And under the same condition, Earthlink now has a temporary injunction to stop Cyber Promotions from spamming its members. America Online won a court case earlier this year to protect its subscribers from the unsolicited email. The Federal Communications Commission has approved subsidies to help get America's schools online. According to the plan, private and public schools will get 40 to 90% discounts on net access, the discounts to be determined by need. The money will go toward internet provider costs and wiring, and the money will come from mainly a new federal monthly charge on homes and businesses with more than one phone line. The discounts are also available to libraries. And libraries that already have net access also have new guidelines from the American Library Association regarding online pornography. The ALA put out a new policy to help branches shield kids from adult websites without using filtering software. Branches are directed to hold parents responsible for supervising children's net usage. Ever wonder which search engine is the net's best? Now you've got your answer, thanks to PC Computing Magazine's search engine competition. It found a winner among 4 major engines: AltaVista, Excite, InfoSeek, and Hotbot. The engines were asked to search out correct answers to a series of questions. For example, what are the best airfares on the market? And the winner is Hotbot. It was the fastest and most accurate. The magazine's also come out with a list of the net's top 100 sites. CNET took the cake in the computing category. Amazon.com got top honors in commerce. And for entertainment, the winner was Atlantic Unbound, the cyber version of the Atlantic Monthly. Check out PC Computing's site for more winners. And for more details on these stories, visit news.com, updated several times a day with everything you need to know about the digital world.
Thanks, Richard. It is time for some viewer email. Each week we take a moment to answer your most frequently asked questions or facts. And here to fill us in is Sofie Formica.
Thanks, Gina. Well, you probably already know that sending files over the internet can be tricky business. And that brings us to this week's question from Andrea11 of San Francisco. She writes, I've been using the net to find a new job, and many companies ask me to send my resume in ASCII or text format. What is that? Well, Andrea, one of the drawbacks of sending documents electronically is that you don't always know what kind of system is being used by the person on the other end. Now, say you're using a Mac and the office you're applying to only has PCs. Well, the person you're sending your resume to may not be able to read it. That's why they ask you to submit your resume in ASCII or text format. Now, ASCII is a standard text file format that can be read by most operating systems. Now, in order to convert a file to text only in Microsoft Word, for example, you go to the File menu and choose Save As. Then under Save File As type, choose Text Only. The downside is that you'll lose some of your formatting, such as tabs or bolded text, when using ASCII format. So you'll have to be creative about using things like line breaks and capital letters. Now, if you're confused about any of the terms or the technologies that are featured here on CNET Central, of course we'd love to help. So send your question to the fact file at cnet.com or through regular or snail mail to the fact file at 150 Chestnut Street, San Francisco, California, 94111. And if you'd like to know more about ASCII or text-only formatting, head on over to cnet.com and you'll also find those fact file addresses and each week's question and answer.
Thanks, Sofie. Stay with us. Coming up next, use your computer to blast off into outer space. And baseball on the web. Ron Reagan covers all the bases. We'll be right back.
CNET Central is brought to you by IBM. Solutions for a small planet.
What does it take for an airline to close a deal these days? Teamwork. Planners, schedulers, finance guys, you name it, you'll need it. But if you work for British Airways, you don't need to fly everyone in. You bring them together with the help of IBM. You see, IBM's Groupware solution helps the airline sales force bring the whole team to the table. If IBM did it for them, they can probably do it for you.
They created electronic trading, and a global intranet became their trading floor. An intranet now able to handle 1 billion shares a day, with trades flashed to 300,000 monitors around the world in milliseconds. With reliability critical, with no room for error, who did NASDAQ turn to build and manage the world's largest intranet? MCI. Imagine now what we can do for you.
Hi, Chuck. Here's lunch.
Thanks.
How's business?
Not bad. Yours?
It's okay. Hey, what's that on your screen?
Oh, that. QuickBooks accounting software from the makers of Quicken. I called a toll-free number and got a free trial version.
My system works fine for me.
That's what I thought. But if you have bills to pay or customers who owe you money, you really ought to try this.
Yeah, I really don't have time to learn new software.
Well, if you can write a check, you can use QuickBooks. Answer a few questions, and it tailors itself to your business. Now I create invoices like these.
Yeah, but my business is so different from yours.
Ah, but that's what makes QuickBooks so great. It's the #1 software for any small business. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, even payroll and inventory, and you never have to enter information twice. There's over 60 customizable reports that put you in control. Know if you're making or losing money.
Sounds pretty good. I'm going to get that free trial version.
Nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-231-2119. That's 1-800-231-2119.
You're watching CNET, the digital domain. The best of the web is brought to you by MCI One. Life just got simpler.
This week, we blast off to space, hit the road in search of some cheap eats, and say hello to our favorite superhero, Batman, in our picks for the best of the web. On May 22nd, the U.S. will celebrate Space Day here on Earth. But you can also participate in the festivities in cyberspace at their official website. There's over 100 space projects to keep you busy. Want to know how much you'd weigh if you lived on Pluto? Get the answer here. Or listen in on some actual space shuttle radio transmissions. You'll also find an interactive timeline, trivia games, and links to other space-related sites. Back down on Earth, we grab a bite at the Eat Here website. Are you hankering for a breaded tenderloin pork sandwich? Or how about a sip of some chocolate soda? This site is your interactive guide to the best roadside diners in the U.S. And if you can't make it to one of these eateries, there's a recipe section to learn how to cook your own roadside cuisine. For the best cheap eats and roadside nostalgia around, click in and then dig in at this site. And for a different kind of adventure, fly over to the Batman Animated Series Online. This site mirrors the stunning animation found in the TV series. Visit the Shockwave Gallery for some interactive games, or click on bios of your favorite villains like the Joker and Mr. Freeze. You'll also find episode guides and a history section. For more best of the web, hop over to CNET.com. This week's feature also includes a site to help you with web page design and a place to shop for antique books online.
Thanks, Gina. Now something we reported first a couple of weeks ago on CNET Central. Everybody knows the nice thing about email is it doesn't require stamps, not even any postage. Soon, you and I, however, will be able to use digital stamps for physical mail. Why and how it works? Well, from CNET Labs, here's Desmond Crisis.
That's right. Well, digital stamps are almost here. Now, when the postage meter came along to do away with having a stamp on absolutely everything, the problem with that was that you had to take the whole postage meter down to the post office where they bless it, and then you take the whole thing back, and it's about the size of a small printer, or at least
Don't tell me we can do it online now, Desmond.
Oh, boy, you sure can. do it online now. Actually, they have an internet post office, which is in development right now. You can actually have your computer call their computer, and they'll work it out to where you get your postage left on this little handy-dandy button. This actually carries the currency, kind of like a smart card.
So that's the roll of stamps right there.
This is
Okay,
it.
we have already typed up an important letter here, so let's address it and show another feature of this technology.
Okay.
We're using technology from a company called eStamp, by the way. It will verify the address for you.
Yeah,
Watch
that's
this.
right. Here you go. A zip +4 +2, which actually I've never even seen before.
my.
That's pretty handy-dandy.
All right, let's do a print preview, and it works with any application.
That's right.
on the
That's what
computer.
our envelope's going to look like. We'll print this.
All
The
right.
print postage button. The
Now-
money leaves our little device and heads off to the printer.
While we're waiting over here, let me ask you, how soon will we be able to use this?
Well, the permit's been applied for and has been sitting at the U.S. Postal Service for about a month now. If they do approve it soon, you could have this within a few months and at a cost of around a couple $100. So it's actually affordable for people like you and me.
Well, here comes the envelope now. And I'm wondering, you know, I could set my clock to April 15th to beat a certain deadline.
Not
with this.
exactly, actually, because this thing has a clock on it. It doesn't look like much, but there's a clock in here to keep you from doing that sort of thing, Richard, so you look out.
Gosh darn it. Well, look at that little two-dimensional barcode there. That's it. That's the stamp. And the best part is your logo can go here.
That's right. So you could have Elvis or your mama or my dog.
This is going to change postage forever. Desmond Crisis, thanks once again. You want to find out more information about this technology or eStamp, just log on to CNET.com. I think we have another letter to you.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to be the first to get the inside scoop on the online world every week, then you've got to get Digital Dispatch. It's CNET's free email newsletter. All you have to do to sign up is send a message to subscribe@cnet.com, and we'll send you Digital Dispatch.
Create a website that reflects who you are. A website that's animated, innovative, and three-dimensional. Corel Webmaster Suite puts power in your hands. Power to publish and manage text and graphics, hyperlinks, and VRML. Plus wizards, pre-designed templates, and Netscape Navigator to take you there. Corel Webmaster Suite. Total creation power. From the makers of Corel WordPerfect.
It won't print.
Still won't print?
Still won't print. It won't print.
Jiggle the cable. I jiggled. I'll jiggle again.
That's the light.
That's the light?
That's the light.
It won't print.
Won't print.
Won't print.
What's the problem with the printer?
It won't print. Can you print?
It's not the printer, it's the computers. Hadley downloaded a virus off the web.
Hadley.
IBM protects your network.
This year at the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes, there's an absolute 100% sure thing. If you try to use American Express, you won't get in, because the only card accepted at the gate is Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
A storm rolling in, and Mom's not due for another hour.
Hey! What about me?
A pretty tight spot, unless you have MCI.
Starting to rain!
The kids dial one special number, and that one call goes to Mom's office, then to her cell phone, then right to her.
Get in. I'm so glad you called.
And Mom rolls in right before the storm.
Wouldn't let me in the phone booth, Mom. There's no room, you dweeb. Dweeb, dork.
Sightings, all new shows, exclusively on the SciFi Channel.
SciFi Channel next.
I am the Sci-Fi Channel. Sunday, I will transform your reality in a dimension of power.
At 8, Mantis takes on a one-man army.
My virtual reality soldier.
At 9,
I'll nail him a second time.
The Flash helps his father settle an old score. And at 10, a blast from the past.
Dead men do not commit crimes.
Puts the drop on RoboCop.
Sci-Fi Channel Weekends of Wonder.
Tonight.
Come with me.
In the booming world of online sports, there is no shortage of information about hockey, football, and basketball. But it might surprise you to find out that America's oldest sport, baseball, gets the most coverage in this new medium. Ron Reagan surfed around to see how well the online baseball field suits its millions of fans.
Baseball is all about facts and figures, and if you want to stay on top of the game, you have to stay up to date. That's where the web comes in. There's a whole baseball community on the internet, hundreds of sites with all sorts of perks, player bios, scores, that lifeblood of the baseball fanatic, statistics. But is anybody actually using these websites?
Patrick Toland is a season ticket holder for the San Francisco Giants. Like most ball fans, he's been going to games since he was a kid, but now uses new ways to keep up with the country's oldest sport.
So now, how big a baseball fan are you?
Extremely big. I don't want to tell my employer this, but I spend several hours a day on the internet dealing with baseball stats and checking on my team.
Included in Patrick's daily itinerary are visits to CBS Sportsline's site, which has a Java applet showing each game in progress. He also hits his own team's website, SanFranciscoGiants.com, for the statistics he needs.
So what other websites are there?
Baseball Weekly is a great site.
Yeah.
I actually have been kicking myself for a few weeks now because I subscribed to the magazine before the season started and didn't realize they had the exact same content online. If you go to a magazine store, you can find some stuff, but it's going to be a week old. I need to know, like, if Rod Beck got the save today, I'm going to need to know that in an hour because he's on my team.
Fans have been going to ballparks since baseball began, and not even the advent of TV changed that. Can online coverage affect how we actually watch the game? Progressive Networks think so, judging from their plan to unveil real video broadcasts of games later this year.
Well, what we're doing is, for the first time, we're going to take a Major League Baseball game and broadcast it all over the world on the internet using real video.
Technology is evolving rapidly on the internet, and this is an opportunity for us to try out some new technology, and we think that there's a lot of ways fans can enjoy baseball games by going to the ballpark, watching on television, and perhaps this is something that will appeal to people around the world, give them an opportunity to remotely experience a Major League Baseball game live.
But as far as the fans are concerned, might this just be putting an old package in a new box? I asked Patrick.
Baseball games have been broadcast on the radio forever, so what's the big deal?
Well, I can do it at work.
Well, you can have a radio at work.
Yeah, but you get kind of caught that way. I mean, I got the screen, the boss is on the other side of the computer. They're looking back at me, and it looks like I'm just, working away. When in fact, I've got the game right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
looks like double play. Turn it. This could be it.
If you'd like to learn more about getting your baseball fix online, make sure you head over to CNET.com. You'll find an in-depth feature about all the great baseball sites.
But wait, there's more. You can learn more about anything you've seen on the show today at our website. You'll find lots of other information that'll make your computing experience a better one.
And if you're new to the web or an avid surfer, CNET has other great services that can really improve your online experience, like Search.com.
With Search.com, you can search the entire World Wide Web or try one of the custom searches for even more targeted results. A great way to search for your next job, a lost friend, or the cheapest tickets on the net.
That's it for CNET Central this week. Thanks for tuning in and logging on.
This week on the Computer Chronicles, our annual holiday buying guide. The coolest hardware, the hottest new games, the latest in internet tools, and the best new multimedia software. We'll show you what's new and what's cool for the techie on your holiday shopping list, plus Giles Online and My Pick of the Week, all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro One software, educational software for young adults. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection.